We're almost at the halfway mark of the season, and this Heisman race is shaping out to be a really good one. There are a number of players who are still in the running, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty more that join the race at some point in the coming weeks. As we get ready to enter week 6 of the college football season, here is my current Heisman top 10 list. Before I get to today's video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are that you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel, so make sure to join one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. I'm posting videos every day during the college football season, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. After a fantastic freshman season last year, Drake May has been just as good in 2023. Through 4 games, he's completing 73% of his passes for 1,200 yards. He's only thrown 5 passing touchdowns, but he's also added 3 touchdowns on the ground as well. May's been heating up lately, as over his last 2 games, he's thrown for over 700 yards. A name cracking my Heisman top 10 for the first time this year is Missouri quarterback Brady Cook. Through the first half of the season, he's been arguably one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football this year, and he's still massively underrated. Through 5 games, he's completing 75% of his passes for 1,500 yards. He's thrown 11 passing touchdowns with no interceptions. He's also added 3 touchdowns on the ground as well. He's had a number of big performances, especially lately. In an upset win against Kansas State, he threw for 350 yards with 3 total touchdowns. This past weekend on the road at Vanderbilt, he threw for 400 yards with 4 passing touchdowns. He continues to light up the stat sheet, and Missouri takes on LSU this weekend. If he puts up another solid game and Missouri picks up the victory, he's going to be even higher in next week's rankings. Sneaking back into my top 10 is Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart. He's been fantastic so far for the Rebels this season, as he's thrown for 1,500 yards with 11 passing touchdowns. He's also added 300 yards on the ground with 4 rushing scores as well. I had him in my top 10 a couple weeks ago, but after his performance against Alabama, I dropped him out of the rankings. But what he did this past weekend against LSU has him right back inside my top 10. He had one of the best games we've seen from a quarterback this year. He threw for 400 yards with 4 passing touchdowns this past weekend. He also added 50 yards on the ground with a rushing score as well. Ole Miss has one of the best offenses in all of college football, and if Jackson Dart can do this on a week-to-week basis, I think his numbers are going to be good enough by the end of the season to be in that Heisman discussion. Washington State has been one of the biggest surprises in the Pac-12, and that's largely due to quarterback Cameron Ward. Through 4 games, he's completing 75% of his passes and is thrown for 1,400 yards. He has 13 passing touchdowns and is yet to throw a single interception. He's also added over 100 yards on the ground with 3 rushing scores as well. He's had a number of great performances, but his best came in his last game against Oregon State. In the victory at home, he completed 82% of his passes, throwing for 400 yards with 4 passing touchdowns, while even adding a touchdown on the ground as well. Dillon Gabriel has been a guy that has been in a number of Heisman lists over the last couple of years, and he's shaping out to have the best season of his collegiate career. So far this season, he's completing 75% of his passes, a new career high. He's thrown for 1,600 yards with 15 passing touchdowns. He's also added 4 touchdowns on the ground as well, for good measure. This past weekend against Iowa State, he threw for just under 400 yards with 3 passing touchdowns. He also added 40 yards on the ground with 2 rushing scores as well. Overall, Gabriel is first in the entire Big 12 in touchdowns responsible for with 19. He also leads the Big 12 and is number 5 in the entire country with 1,700 total yards of offense. Before I get to the rest of my Heisman list, I like to share with you guys how you can win money and make the college football season even more exciting. I've partnered with Underdog Fantasy to bring you this amazing deal. If you download the Underdog Fantasy app and use promo code Harris, they'll match your first deposit up to $500. That's right, they'll give you up to $500 of free money. I've had a lot of success recently with college football and the NFL, and you can do the exact same with Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Harris for a 100% deposit match up to $500. That deal is only good through tomorrow though, so you better sign up quickly. You can also sign up using the link in my description as well. Jordan Travis has been great for Florida State this season. He's thrown for over 1,000 yards with 10 passing touchdowns, while also adding 2 touchdowns on the ground as well. Although his numbers aren't as impressive as other players on this list, it's the fact that he showed up against the best competition that has him so high. In the first week of the season, he knocked off LSU after throwing for 350 yards with 5 total touchdowns. He then went on the road a couple weeks ago and knocked off Clemson, throwing for 300 yards with 3 total touchdowns. Again, his numbers aren't as great as some other guys on this list, but you can make the case that Jordan Travis by far has the best resume so far this season. Bo Nix just keeps doing Bo Nix things, as he's been fantastic for the Ducks this year. He's completing over 80% of his passes and has thrown for 1,500 yards with 15 passing touchdowns. He's also added a touchdown on the ground as well. This past weekend on the road at Stanford, Nix completed 85% of his passes for 300 yards. He also threw 4 passing touchdowns without throwing an interception. This is coming off another solid performance where at home against Colorado, he completed 85% of his passes as well. He threw for 300 yards with 3 passing touchdowns and ran in a score as well. Bo Nix continues to be one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football, something I'm still having a hard time believing. Staying at number 3 is Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers. He's been great this year as he's thrown for 1,400 yards with 10 passing touchdowns while also adding 5 touchdowns on the ground as well. He actually leads the Big 12 in rushing touchdowns with 5 this season. This past weekend against Kansas, Ewers threw for 325 yards with a passing touchdown. He also added 2 touchdowns on the ground as well. Again, his numbers aren't quite as good as some of the other players on this list, but the fact that he has ranked wins over teams like Alabama and Kansas, that helps his case just a little bit more. After spending 2 weeks at number 1, I have Michael Penix Jr. at number 2. But it's nothing he did, it's just the fact that the number 1 player has been just a little better these last couple of weeks. Michael Penix Jr. has been insane this season as he's completing 75% of his passes. He's thrown for 2,000 yards with 16 passing touchdowns. This past weekend on the road at Arizona, he completed 75% of his passes and threw for 360 yards. But he didn't have a single passing touchdown. The first game this season, he's yet to throw one. Actually, it's the first game this season, he's thrown less than 3 in a single game. Penix Jr. is still on pace to throw for well over 5,000 yards and have more than 40 passing touchdowns, but one other player has been slightly better these last couple of weeks, and I'm talking about USC quarterback Caleb Williams. So far this season, he's thrown for 1,600 yards while completing 75% of his passes. He's thrown 21 passing touchdowns with only 1 interception. He's also added 3 touchdowns on the ground as well. This past weekend on the road at Colorado, Caleb Williams had one of the best games of his collegiate career. He completed 75% of his passes, throwing for over 400 yards with 6 passing touchdowns. This is coming off a performance on the road in which he totaled over 300 yards with 5 total touchdowns. So over the last 2 weeks alone, Caleb Williams has 11 total touchdowns. It's going to be a back and forth race between Williams and Penix Jr. this season, and honestly it seems like things are going to be changing every week. But as of right now, I gotta give the slight edge to Caleb Williams. Well, that wraps it up for my Heisman top 10 after week 5. Was there a player that I had ranked too high or too low on my list? Or was there a player that wasn't in my top 10 that definitely should have been in here? Whoever it is, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. I'm posting college football videos every day during the season, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.